Hello, I am Tatyana Tretyak, the mother of the murdered Miroslava, who was 6 years old at the time, and the killer was 13 years old. We had 2 children, but now only our eldest daughter, nearly 18, remains. It was on July 28, 2021. She ran out into the yard, ran there, and called her friend. They came to our house, took some pencils and a sketchbook. They went out into the yard, sat at the table, and drew. She brought it and said, "Mom, I'm going to Vika's, which is the house next door." They ran over, returned, grabbed their dolls, and played. She said, "Mom, I'm going to Vika's." I told her to check in with me. She ran off, returned around 5, and said, Mom, Bodan took my hoop. It was shaped like glowing horns. She said he took it and threw it away. Tell him not to throw away my toys. Bodan is our neighbor. We live in the same building. We have a 2-story building with 9 apartments. He lived with his mother on the 1st floor, and we live on the 2nd floor. I said, there's no point talking to him. I'll talk to his mother. Just then, she came home from work. It was around 5:30. I had just gone outside. I was canning cucumbers. We have something like a summer kitchen there. I went outside, and she was right by the house, sitting on a bench. I told Aunt Galia. The child came and complained. She said, "You guys are already getting on my nerves." Well, she actually swore. I said, "No, don't talk like that. Explain to your child that this is not the right age group for him to hang out with." And I kept saying that all the time. And then my older daughter and I are sitting in the kitchen. And about 20 minutes past 6, Mirochka's friend came and said, "Is Mira going to come out and play?" I said, "But she went to your place, didn't she?" She said, "Oh right, she left with Bogdan." And we immediately started searching. So at 20 minutes past 6, we started searching right away. And when I told my older daughter Victoria, "Call Bogdan, ask where he and Mira are," she started calling him, but he kept rejecting the calls and wouldn't answer. And my daughter ran. We also have some 2-story houses nearby. She ran to the playground there, but she wasn't there. And my husband ran out right away, and I followed a little later, about 10 minutes after. And I saw him through the window. I asked, where is Miriam? He said, "I don't know." When I ran out of the apartment, he was already gone. He ran away, and I didn't see him. Although my daughter and my husband told me that he was with them, looking for her. He said he walked with her to the bakery, then she went to the abandoned buildings while he returned home. He said no, she left and he went there. He got confused, then ran away. At 7:50 I called the police. So we actually didn't search for long ourselves. The police arrived within 5 minutes. And then neighbors and villagers started arriving. There were a lot of police officers. So the search began. They were searching, combing the forest, the cemetery, even though the cemetery is farther away from where we live. But she wouldn't have gone there. I said, we need to look for her somewhere around here in this area, because without my knowledge, she wouldn't have gone any farther from here. In the evening, in front of the police, neighbors, and fellow villagers, I told Aunt Hala, "Let Bodan say where he put Mirochka, maybe I can save her." She told me, "Excuse me, but I'm sick of hearing about your Mirochka." I said, "If he hurt her, I'll wipe you out." "Who do you even think you are to threaten me?" I said, "I'm a mother." Investigators took me home and started questioning me. They questioned me for about 2 hours, I think. Then they got a call while we were in the apartment, packed up and left quickly. So I asked them, "Did you find my child and what happened to her?" They said, "We don't know anything." Then I went outside and started asking again, but no one told me anything. At around 1 in the morning, they brought my mom in an ambulance. I look into her eyes, she hugs me, and I say, "Mom, I knew Mirochka was gone a long time ago." She was reportedly 300 meters from home, though it was actually less and in terrible condition. They raped her twice, as they told me, before she died, and then after she died. And there were 10 blows to the head with a brick. There were holes in her pretty little face, in her cheeks. Do you think a person could do that? That's not a person, I don't know. It was some kind of satanic treatment of the child. How could she have wronged him? I don't even know. There were his underwear, there was a bag that he even tried to strangle the child with, and as a result, his sperm was found. Well, and fingerprints on the stone.
Bodan, this guy, when was he detained?
They said it was somewhere nearby in a house. He was sitting there and browsing the internet. Yes, that same evening he was sitting there watching. He was kind of searching at first and then he hid because he told his mother, and he also called his sister and told her what he had done. They said that he told them how he did it and that he had wanted to do this to her for a long time. I just don't know why. He only has one mother. He lived alone with his 15-year-old older sister.
And how it all happened,
She moved out immediately, fearing vigilante justice, even though she insists he did nothing wrong and it was someone else. Tell me who did it. The guilty one will be punished, even though all evidence is against him. She left with the police. So they went to Volchansk and then she moved to Kharkiv. And then they came with the police to pick up their things because the police were protecting them. They killed my child and the police protect them. While the investigation was going on during the funeral, the police were protecting them. Not me, not my family. They were protecting them so that nothing would happen to them. We buried her on July 30th, 2021. There were a lot of people. There was a lot of police. Again, you know, burying a child and also having to watch over the family because my dad lost consciousness. I always carried smelling salts because I was the one keeping everyone together. My husband, dad, mom, and older daughter. Because, imagine, I'm carrying all of this on my shoulders. The funeral was just terrible. Thanks to my godparents, who also supported me at that time. Fellow villagers. Everyone supported me. Tomorrow marks 6 months since she's been gone. I still hear her little voice. I still hear her calling me, Mommy.
Where was he held before the trial?
At a children's distribution center in Kharkiv. He can't be tried. And even that is just like a special boarding school, or like... The investigation lasted for 2 months while all the examinations were being conducted. There were more than 60 of them. The court hearings began on October 7th. Initially there was heavy security, but people later saw we were normal and reasonable. By the last hearing there was less security, because they were afraid that he might get killed again, so that there wouldn't be any vigilante justice. You know, I had the urge to just take him and kill him right there. Personally, I did. And Miroslava's father felt the same way. He had that urge too. You know, to go to prison. I even asked what would happen if I took revenge for my child and killed him. They said life in prison. Maybe the only thing stopping me is that I still have a child.
Did he ever explain what happened?
He didn't explain anything. We even went to court. I asked him and he said, I won't tell you anything. Yes, those are my things. Yes, I was there, but I won't tell you anything. The trial lasted until December 2nd, and on December 2nd the court's decision was announced. So it wasn't even a sentence, just a court decision, so that he would be placed in a special school for corrective labor and education. They'll try to educate him, though his mother couldn't in 13 years. At 13, they'll educate him after he's already killed a child, since he's too young for criminal responsibility. If he were 14, then it would be a different story. I asked for him to get a life sentence and be punished as an adult, since he acted like one. If you act like an adult, you should be treated as one. I believe that for those around him, both now and in the future, when he gets out in 3 years, he will still be brutal. I will never forget this. I'm saying this as a mother.
Will you never be able to forgive?
No, I'll even tell you, they are my worst enemies. I never had enemies before. I never felt hostility toward people. Never. I'm that kind of person. I'm emotional. I can argue. I'm such a kind person. I would never refuse to help. If I have anything, I'll share it with you. I even shared my apartment's electricity with this family.
It was a lawsuit against 11 government agencies demanding 100 million hryvnias.
Yes, the lawsuit was filed during court hearings while the legal proceedings were still ongoing. The lawsuit was filed against 11 agencies, including the school and the police. I won't list them all, and so on.
Are these 11 agencies also responsible for what happened?
Of course. You could even say they're still to blame now because once again there's no accountability. My claim for 100 million was denied because the agencies believe they're not responsible for what happened, that they didn't know something like this could happen.
Can you tell us a bit about your father, how he went through this journey?
How should I put it? It's hard. Everyone goes through this journey with difficulty, but for a man, still, he cries too, he goes to work. At the moment, our family is now separated. Everyone is on their own. It's hard, very hard, especially since Miroshka appeared in our lives after 10 years. Even before Miroshka I gave birth, we had a son who died a month after he was born. And Mira, she was our little ray of sunshine. She would run around, she would always come running. If he was fixing the car in the shed or doing something else, she would always come. Daddy, do you want me to bring you some water? She helped us cope with the grief after our son. We cherished her so much. She was so bright, you know. She couldn't sit still, she would come running, and she always asked to be kissed sweetly and lovingly. I cry very often, even though I understand. I can sob from morning till night, and well, he holds me back. He explains that the child is not well there. When he... we have a superstition that the child is floating in water there, and it's bad for them. I can't...
How is your life arranged now?
Not at all. I go around in circles, work, then I come home, and it's empty. I've shut myself in just sitting in my apartment.
Have you thought about seeking help from a psychotherapist?
It was suggested to me. A psychologist won't help me. A person has to adjust themselves mentally on their own. I can't come to terms with it. That my little one is gone, that my bright, the one who would run up, who used to call me from school. Mommy, are you already on your way to pick me up or not? I'm already on my way.
Do you or your family need any help right now?
Help? For me and my family? So that he would be punished, not just 3 years in a special school as a corrective measure, but so that they would actually be punished. And I want the mother to be held responsible for this as well, so that she is also accountable for his actions. Today he's 13, and in 3 years he'll be 16 and out. He'll repeat the same things, then say, well... Again, they'll just shrug their shoulders well. And again, everything will go unpunished. I don't want that. I understand that no one will bring my child back to me now. If only he could return my child. And said, Aunt Tanya, I'm sorry that it happened this way. Here is your Mirochka. I'm giving her back to you. Forgive me. Maybe I would forgive, but right now they are my worst enemies. But I am counting on God's judgment.
How would you continue the phrase? To be a mother whose daughter was killed by a 13-year-old.
To be a mother and to seek justice.